I mean, I did it like at least 10 seconds ago.
Yeah, we just let it chill for a sec.
I get anxious when we let it chill for
All
a
right,
second.
welcome to The Arena. This is a show where we play competitive video games, or if you ask some people about Hearthstone, they might say the games that pretend to be competitive. I think it's a competitive game. Where we play competitive video games, we try to learn about them, we try to get better at them, and we try to understand why do people like playing these, why do people like watching these games. We're streaming live from the 9th floor of the Curtain Hall in the UW at UW Milwaukee. This is kind of an academic pursuit. We're part of Serious Play. And so I'm your host, Eric Kirsting. I tend to play the games, but not always. And to my left is
Sorry. I'm Kelly. I'm a PhD student at UWM, and I am quiet.
I'm also a PhD student at UWM. And so today we're playing a game. We're revisiting a game. We have played Hearthstone before, but something unique happened just this morning / early afternoon, and that was a new expansion dropped. And now there's really no better time in a card game than when a new expansion has just happened. There's a bunch of new cards, new strategies, new decks to build. And as we kind of talked about before, there are two sides to playing a card game, right? There's the side of the game where you're just actually in the game and you're making turn-by-turn decisions. But there's also the side of the game where you are not playing against anyone but yourself in the deck builder. And so I've actually erased every deck that I have. So we have no decks, and we have to build a deck on stream today with some new cards. And then we're going to go online, and we're going to try to play some people with our new decks, and presumably they'll have just made decks too. And hopefully we win some games. Yeah. Before we jump right into building a deck, I want to talk a little bit about what happens when a new expansion comes out. So obviously there's a lot of new cards, and the way that Hearthstone does it, and I think a lot of card games do this, is it tends to not be an incremental drop of cards, like one every month or two, but a big just dump of cards at once. Now all these cards were announced beforehand, so I think the last new cards, there's about 40 of them revealed last Wednesday. And since then we've known all the cards, so nothing's like a super shock. It's not like I open up my game today, I open up a pack, and I really regret this. I did not save a pack to open it on stream, which would have been nice. If we win, let's see, we have how much gold? We have 40. So if we win 18 games, 15 games, which probably won't happen.
Nope.
That's just we'd be playing about 30 games. But if we were to win 15, you get 10 gold per win. So. So to go back to my thing, I didn't open up the game today, open up a pack, and get, let me see a new card. I didn't get Reno the Relicologist and not have any clue who this is or what he does, because I had already learned about it. And there's a lot of life around. It's funny, all his life, Reno Jackson, the word life was in the card description. But anyways, there's a lot of life and liveliness around the month before a new expansion comes out. There's a lot of discussion on forums like Reddit, and I tend to take part in those. I love to talk about the new cards with people and theorize where does this card fit? Is this card good? Is this card bad? Sometimes there's a card that's just terrible. But the big thing that's really exciting for me on release day is new legendary cards. And that's why I've just filtered my collection by legendary. And I'm actually going to go, you can see in the Hearthstone things, you can go by set too. And the Saviors of Uldum is the new expansion. So I want to look at some of the legendaries I opened today. So the first legendary I opened, which is the one I want to build our first deck around, was Hack the System. And so this introduces one of the new mechanics, or not really new, but returning mechanics to this one, which is quests. Now, about 2 years ago, there was a set called Journey to Un'Goro, which introduced the quest mechanic to the game. And since then, there's been no new quests until this expansion. Okay. And what a quest is, it's a 1-mana card that always begins in your hand. And it gives you some sort of requirement to do. And in this case, it's attack 5 times with your hero. In return, you get whatever the reward for the quest is. I was really excited to play with some of these new quests because the rewards are often really interesting. Now, for the last batch of quests, every class gets a quest, both this time and in Un'Goro. But in Un'Goro, oftentimes the quests were these 5-mana minions that had some sort of big effect. like set your hero's health to 40, or change the cost of all minions in your deck to 0. Really just game-changing effects. This time, they kind of went a different route with the quests. The quest here is attack 5 times the hero, which is a lot easier to complete than most of the old quests would have been. And the reward, and refresh score, and the reward for all these, instead of being a new minion or a card that gets placed in your hand, it just gives you a new hero power. In this case, instead of having the normal hero power of gain 2 armor, it's summon a 4 attack, 3 health minion, which is really good. Like that's just a good 2 mana thing to do anyways. The Warlock one, for instance, is draw 20 cards. You get the Tome of Origination, which is draw a card. It costs 0. And then the Priest one is restore 15 health, Obelisk Eye. And what that does is it restores, instead of 2 health, it restores 3. But if you target a minion, it also gives that minion +3/+3, which is really big. And so a lot of these new quests have a lot of people really excited because new hero powers really can change the way the game is played. There is one other really big mechanic that was introduced, which is a new keyword. And so in this case, the keyword is reborn. And what reborn means is that when this minion dies for the first time, it comes back to life with 1 health. And kind of like, as you can tell by this card, the Restless Mummy, or by Murmy, it's supposed to be like this kind of mummy thing, like, right? You would think you knocked the mummy's head off, right? But he's still lumbering towards you, right? And so it's got a lot of flavor. And so I really am interested in this new reborn mechanic and seeing how good it will be. Like, you can see in lots of old sets that there are keywords, and the keywords don't often come up. So, for instance, there was Echo about a year ago. Echo means that you can play this card more than once on your turn.
Yep.
Or there's, let me think of, there was Overkill. Overkill was one from a couple expansions ago. It means if this thing kills more than, like, overkills something, you get some awesome thing. And that was for, like, this Colosseum-esque, like, interesting thing. So, that's it. Those are some of the new mechanics. Any questions about that kind of stuff?
No.
All right. So one thing to know is we don't have any packs, but it is worth noting. What this is, in case you're wondering, this is my pity timer. It just tracks how I'm doing in the packs because you're guaranteed a legendary every 40 packs, so I like to keep track of that information. Same thing with every certain amount of packs. But I'd be remiss to note that Hearthstone is a game that relies on microtransactions, which obviously means that you can pay money, right, up to 60 packs for $70 in the store. Now, one thing to note is that even though I have a lot of new cards, because I opened actually 80 plus packs today, I did not spend any real world money on it, just in-game Hearthstone money. Could we turn down the mic a little bit? It's
Absolutely.
Like, it's peaking in the red.
You're peeking in the red.
Yeah, woo. Maybe a little bit more.
Sure.
But not too much, but just thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so, microtransactions are an interesting thing in the gaming community, and since this is a show that's based on competitive games, I'd be remiss to note that we just pulled up chat. Sorry if you've said anything, say it again. Don't worry about it. We're just joking. I'd be remiss to not note that most competitive games rely on microtransactions as their business model. Now, there's a lot of talk in the gaming industry about whether microtransactions are ethical or not, and that can be tricky, especially in a game like Hearthstone, which is free to play fundamentally. And obviously, they can't just design. They have a whole team of, at least dozens of people designing these cards, making the artwork, right, all that stuff. And so, those people deserve to get paid. And so we can have a discussion about microtransactions and how they should be implemented in Hearthstone. But I would just like to note that that is something that we could talk about at some point today, is what are their place in this game and in other games? Because obviously a new expansion doesn't just mean new cards, it means lots of money is being spent on this game. But we haven't spent any yet. I haven't spent money on just buying. When was the last time I bought a pack? It's been a really long time.
Well, I think it's because you get there's enough of an option to gain money. Whereas if it was slow to come, if you were playing for hours and hours just doing the grind and not getting that much, then I would say that there's a bit more weight to the microtransaction argument for Hearthstone. But by the sounds of it, if you play a decent amount, you'll get enough money to buy a decent amount of packs.
Yeah. I play every day, and I complete my daily quests always, and I open about 100 packs for free every expansion. And that's not enough to have all the cards, but it's enough to have the cards I really want to play with. I would say that if I were to criticize Hearthstone's model just a little bit, it would not be that like the free to play is bad, but rather I think people who pay money don't get enough, typically. Like a lot of times what happens is like the top end cards are really rare to open in packs, right? There's like a 1 in 20 chance to open a legendary or a 1 in 4 chance to open like an epic. And what can happen is you could open up like 150 packs and like you paid for it with a bunch of money, and then you just end up not having a lot of this set. And it's like, oh, I spent all this money, this kind of feels bad. And so I can understand that. But let's talk about building decks. And so I wanted to start with the first card I opened. So everyone got a free quest, right? I talked about the quest a little bit already, just for signing into Hearthstone today, or within I think like the next 90 days. Anyone who signs into Hearthstone, you get a free quest. And so our free quest was hack the system, and our hero has to attack 5 times, which means we want to equip weapons, right, and be attacking with them. And I thought it'd be fun to start by building a deck. And I already built one and played it against my friend, but I'll name this Quest Warrior. I thought it would be fun to talk about how do you build a deck in these games. So the first thing, in this case, we already have something, a nebulous to build our deck around, right? Which is this hack the system, right? Attacking 5 times. So what I want to do is I definitely want to have some weapons in this deck, right? Because otherwise, why do I have this quest? So the first card that comes to mind is upgrade. If I have a weapon, give it +1/+1. Otherwise, equip a 1/3 weapon. If I equip that 1/3 weapon, that's already completed 3/5 of my quest, right? Once I attack with it over 3 turns, or I give a good weapon, hopefully, +1/+1. So I want to include both of those. The next card I think I really want to include is this card. It's a new card, Livewire Lance. It's a 3-mana 2/2, not great for a weapon, but after your hero attacks, add a lackey to your hand, and lackeys are these really powerful 1-drops. We saw that we built a deck around lackeys last time we played Hearthstone, and so that's a good, I think, card to add to our deck to attack with. Works well with upgrade too, because not only does it gain an extra attack and durability, but we get another lackey when we upgrade it. But the big card that I'm really excited to play with this deck around is this card, Sulthrace. If we overkill a minion, we can just keep attacking. And that'll allow us to possibly complete our quest very quickly. And we have 2. One of them's even golden. And so I think that this creates, to me, the core of our weapons package. The last card I want to add is Gore Howl. Attacking a minion costs 1 attack instead of 1 durability. This gives us an opportunity to just keep attacking throughout the game. We can start attacking minions and stuff. The thing to note is if you hit your opponent in the face, this weapon is destroyed, right? Because it loses its durability. But I think that this, hopefully, is going to be enough weapons for us to complete this quest. Hopefully I'm not wrong. There is if I look up weapon, there's a minion I think who equips a weapon. Oh no, that's from a long time ago, I think. Yeah, never mind, that card no longer exists. So there are some minions that interact with weapons, like give your weapon +1 attack. In particular, if I was being really serious, I might want to craft this guy, Captain Greenskin, who gives your weapon +1/+1. But for today, I don't want to craft any new cards for this deck. I just want to use the cards that are already in my collection. And that's one of the things to note is, we go to Uldum. I opened every single warrior card today, which is funny because I don't really play warrior that much, but I've got them. So let's add some of these new cards. I like this guy, 2-mana 2/2 with taunt, meaning our enemy has to attack him. Battlecry, discover a taunt minion. I think it's just a good card for a long-term value game because, you know, if you draw it later in the game, you can pick a big taunt minion, right? Because discover means you get 3 options randomly, and then you get to pick from those 3. So I like this guy a lot. I think he's really good. Good early game play, good late game play. I like this guy, Restless Mummy. 3/2 Rush and Reborn, and so since he comes back with 1 health, you can run him into one thing and then run him into something else right away. A very good removal option. Then we've got this. Choose a damage-friendly minion and summon a copy of it. I think I want to include 1. Maybe I'll include 2. It's a new card. We're kind of experimenting with new cards. And then we got this card. Whenever your hero attacks, gain 5 armor. I think I might just want 1. Seems like a late game card we might want, because we are going to be attacking a lot. If we're attacking a lot of minions, we're going to be taking a lot of damage. So this can help us mitigate that by gaining a little bit of armor. let's see if we have any other new cards that we want to include. Oh, I know. Okay, so we will create an additional one of these because I do want 2 of these. If you control a quest, which obviously we have a quest here, draw a card, and I like that a lot, right? It's just a good, helps you in the early game especially. So we'll create another one of these. I don't usually like, because I'm still opening packs, so I normally don't want to craft like any rares because I could still open some rares.
Yeah.
But we'll do that for today because that's a good card. This is one of my favorite new cards. I want to talk about this for just a second because this is probably the most unique card. If your deck has no duplicates, wish for the perfect card. And what it does is it gives you 3 options. And there's like, they created like this whole artificial intelligence where it looks at like all of the basic and class cards from all of the classes. And it gives you 3 that it thinks are perfect for what the current board state is.
I love it.
So it's like a really complicated card to program, right? It's a lot more complicated than, we don't want them though, because our deck has duplicates, right? And so, but it's like a lot more complicated than 3 mana, 3/2 Reborn.
Yeah.
But really cool card. I've been putting him in like, this was the first card I crafted. Like, I was like, I need to have this card. It's too cool. Let's see if there's any other. This could be.
And the other things I feel like a lot, especially with a lot of games like this, like in the Auto Chess Dota that we played last time, is a lot of the game depends on pulling something at the right time and being able to execute a combo based on what's available. So that's just like a really good card.
Exactly.
If you draw it.
Exactly. It's really fun. So this is, I think, the best card in the expansion. And one thing to note is that's neutral, which means it can go in any class. But it's 7 mana, 6/6, and then it's getting really flexible because it's Battle Cry, gain 2 of Rush, Taunt, Divine Shield, or Wind Fury. And just for you, just to spark your memory, because I know you don't play Hearthstone. Rush means it can attack the turn it's played. Taunt means your enemy has to attack it. Divine Shield means the first instance of damage it takes is totally gone, mitigated. And then Wind Fury means it can attack twice. And so, if you pick, if you just pick Rush Divine Shield, you've got a 6/6 who just rammed into one of your opponent's minions and didn't take any damage. But you could also, if you want to kill 2 of your opponent's minions, you could take Rush Wind Fury. Or if your opponent has no minions and you still want to play this, you could take Divine Shield and Wind Fury. And what that would mean is that, right, Divine Shield, your opponent's going to have trouble removing it, and then the Wind Fury, next turn if it's still alive, it's going to attack twice. Which could really hurt their life total. So I really like this card. I think it's like an auto-include in most decks. And speaking of auto-include, it seems like Hearthstone does this with the middle expansion, but we're going to move away from Uldum. This was last year's, like, there's 3 expansions a year. Like, there's one at the beginning of the year, which marks the rotation, so a bunch of sets leave. And there's one in the middle of the year, and then there's one at the very end of the year around Christmas time. We're in the middle one right now. And Ziliax was in the middle class one last year, and it is also in like every deck. I think these 2 guys, you're gonna see a lot of them if you play Hearthstone. I actually like that these kind of cards exist though, because they're neutral. You can, like, if you're like a newer player, you're like, what's a good card to craft? Craft Ziliax. It goes in like any deck you want. It's a really flexible and strong card. Same thing with Tiamat. If you're a new player, maybe just craft a Tiamat. I think that would be really good. But now that we're moving away from just the new cards. I don't think I want to have any more of the cards from the latest set in here. That can be one of the traps. Is like a new set just came out. I'm only gonna put cards in my deck from the new one, but that's not a good way to make a great deck. So, let's talk about what are some other cards I'd want to include. So I wish I had 2 of this guy. He's an epic, so he's a little expensive, but we'll put 1 in. He draws a Rush minion from your deck, and we have a couple Rush minions. We got Ziliax, we've got the Restless Mummy, and I want to add 1 more Rush minion. As I'm going to add this Militia Commander. She's a Rush, gain +3 attack this turn. Very strong card. But then after that, I was thinking that I wanted to make this kind of a more aggressive deck. Yes, I've got this quest, but attacking with my weapon is kind of an aggressive thing to want to be doing. And on top of that, the reward gives you these 5/3s, and then it has a secondary thing, which I haven't told you about, which is if you attack after you've used the hero power, it refreshes the hero power, which allows you to summon multiple a turn if you still have a weapon. And so to me, that cries like aggressive. Like I want to be attacking, and then when I complete this quest, let's say I struggled to kill my opponent early. Well, now I'm summoning up guys every turn, and their life total is presumably low. So I'm really putting the pressure on them. Like, hey, you better start clearing these guys, or else I'm just gonna win the game. So I'm thinking like, what are some good aggressive cards? And so one that comes to mind is Frothing Berserker. Whenever a minion takes damage, gain +1 attack. Very strong card. Like, because you play it, if your opponent doesn't deal with it, and you start trading in your other minions, it gets really big really fast. So I think that's a really good card for this kind of deck. Another card that I really want to include is Battle Rage. For every damage-friendly character, draw a card. And so I think that'll be really good because we have a lot of different minions. We're gonna be fighting for board. We trade a minion in, it gets hurt a little bit, and then we draw extra cards off it. And especially...
What was the go over one? Yeah, that way.
This way?
Yeah, what's Warpath?
Warpath is a really, really good card. It's got Echo, which means you can play it multiple times in one turn, and it deals 1 damage to all minions. So you could, in theory, like deal a lot. But it doesn't fit our deck because we kind of want to be playing minions, and since it does damage to all minions, typically you
don't want that.
Yeah. So a really good card in aggressive, or a really good keyword in aggressive decks is Charge, right? Because that means if my opponent has nothing, I can still play this and just punch them in the face, right? Rush, on the other hand, can't go face. That's the difference between Rush and Charge. Kind of interesting. Charge has existed since Hearthstone started. Rush came about a year ago, but now they don't even print cards with Charge anymore because they can be kind of dangerous. So we're running low on space. We have 27 out of 30 slots already filled. But what was Charge. I really want to put the best Charge minion, which we saw last time, Leroy Jenkins. Just a 5 mana, deal 6 damage to the face of your opponent, which can be a really good finisher, right? So we've got, one thing.
I can't believe how old he is.
Pretty old, yeah. No, not bad. It's, make lots of comments. So I want to look at, like, an important thing to do when you're building a deck is to note your curve. You want to have a good amount of cards at every mana slot, generally speaking. And then, like, the more aggressive your deck, the earlier the curve, the more not aggressive, the later the curve. Here we've got a pretty good 1, 6, 5. So, like, you can see that we've got pretty good early game turns. We don't have a lot of we've only got 7 cards that are 5+ mana. So maybe we want to add one more guy who's, like, a little bit bigger like that. We could include another weapon, like this, a 5/2, really big weapon to swing at things.
Sorry, Nathan texted me.
Anything wrong with this screen? No.
No, not. It was with the calendar.
Let's see. I've always found that the 3 mana slot is a good slot to be thinking about. Ooh, how about this? Since we have 2 slots left, I think this is a really good card. Shield block, gain 5 armor, draw a card. Just a really standard, like, I think, good card, because, like, it's 3 mana, yes, but it gives you us armor, which we're going to need. And then also, it draws us a card, which means, like, if we don't have anything to do, this is a good card to play.
So here's a question I have, because we talked about this in terms of D&D, where sometimes players could get into the mentality of building their characters around the potential big damage they can do. Is there a similar issue in Hearthstone that players can fall into, thinking of all the potential damage they could do without thinking about the support, the what if you don't get these cards?
Yeah, the tricky thing is, and note on the right side of our screen we've got this is I have a deck tracker up on my computer, and that's just to help us so we can see that it's actually really big, which is a little annoying, but we'll be okay. All right, so we obviously keep the quest. Question, do we keep upgrade? I think we do. Yeah, we're playing against a hunter. But we threw that away and we got the only other one in our deck. That's kind of unfortunate. Alright, so we play the quest. Let's see what our opponent does. Anyways, so the question repeated again. Oh yeah. I think it's really easy to actually fall into that. And the reason being is that, so there we did that just to start getting our quest online. This is going to net us 3 attacks. And at the same time, we didn't really have anything else to do that turn. But I think it's really easy to do that because it's easy to look at a card and see, like, its awesome potential without necessarily seeing, oh, this isn't going to work for X, Y, or Z.
Tracker of, like, who takes time.
Oh, yeah. Time can be useful. Oh, that's really good for him. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I think what I want to do is play. Wow. Okay, so I'm just gonna say something like a little light. I don't mean this in like a super negative way. Our opponent is kind of a jerk, I think.
Oh yeah.
So it's like a new expansion. There's all these new cards. He's playing one of the best decks from before. So everyone's like trying out new things, right? And their decks are like very unoptimized, and he's playing like a super optimized deck. But here we punch this. Rants. We punch that in hopes that we could be like, okay, there we go. This is good. So what we can do here is we can play this Restless Mummy, and then we'll punch here, and then this will destroy the other Restless Mummy, unfortunately. Oh, it didn't! That's really interesting. I'm still going to make this attack because he's got... We talked about Magnetize before, so leaving up a mech is kind of a bad idea.
Yeah.
This card has not felt good already. I thought this card would be really good, but right now, it's like, so, like, you choose a damage-friendly minion, and then you summon a copy of it, but right now we don't have, like, any damage-friendly minions. Okay. The question is, do I want a Battle Rage, or do I want a Hero Power? I think I want a Hero Power, because Battle Rage is going to be good in a lot of different circumstances. If we can get any more damage on our hero... Oh, jeez. This is really bad. Yeah, our opponent is playing just a meta deck, and it's gonna be really hard for us to... Alright, let's go ahead and draw a card. Ooh, there we go. Discover a taunt minion. So let's see if we can get... He heals us, which is pretty good. So I guess we'll go with them. And I'm just gonna armor up. Just keep getting a little bit of armor. We can play Tiamat next turn. So if he does this punch, and this is still at 6, Tiamat will be able to kill that pretty easily. Or if he does this punch, we'll see what he does. Oh, it looks like he might not... Okay, cool. We can actually clear his board, which is pretty nice. We did take a lot of damage. We're probably gonna lose. Like I said, he hasn't played a single new card this whole time. And so to me, that's pretty lame. But there's people who are always going to be doing that, but doesn't mean I have to like it. Alright, we kill that, which is good. The problem is he's got these 2 mechs on board, so we're going to have a hard time. So what can I do here? We do have some healing. This restores 4 health. This has lifesteal, so we do have some healing. We have the hero power that gains armor. So we are not totally out of it yet. Okay, so that's gonna make his mech's cheaper in his hand, and there's that. I wonder if he'll trade. Because our thing, yep, he does. Oh, no, he doesn't. Alright, so what can I do here? It's kind of tricky. The problem is that I have no way to give this +1 attack, so like this is a really bad trade. But that thing has to die. Yeah, so what we're gonna do is we're just gonna... Oh wait, we can do this first. We'll see what Russian minion we draw from our deck. Alright, does that change anything? No, not really. Because this is 5 attacks, still not enough to kill that. And we can't play like all of these minions. So but what we can do is we can just overkill this a little bit. And then we'll play this other taunt minion. Oh, this didn't die though. I didn't realize that wouldn't die. Which one of these is best? Probably this guy. Alright, so our hope. Ooh, you know what would be really good for us? If he can't kill this Ziliax, we can like run it into this 1/2 and then summon a copy of it and get a lot of lifesteal. Oh, that thing's gonna have poisonous and we're gonna lose. Yep. This is like the super combo that his deck does. Which is like, this thing does 1 damage to everything and it's got poisonous. So it's just gonna constantly be killing everything. If we still had Tiamat, we could actually deal with it. I had to look, is there an answer in our deck to this minion? We can deal 5, so we just need to be able to deal 3. Oh, that feels so trashy. We can't win. The only way we can win here is we do... Alright, so we got a Battle Rage. Look for... Okay. Do this, and then Hero Power. Alright, so when this dies... So he is unable to attack us this turn. So... we're gonna heal up a little bit, and then we're gonna have to figure it out. Oh, if he attacks it, that'd be really dumb of him. Alright, so that's lethal, because these are both gonna do 4 damage to me. Or 2 damage to me. Okay. That was really lame. I hate it when people do that. We're trying to have a cool stream here, and then we gotta play against that. Like, literally, there was not a new card in that person's deck. And so, that's something you gotta deal with. And, like, slowly, people will optimize their decks, and then, like, the old decks won't be as strong. But the old decks are obviously the strongest decks right now.
Yeah.
Because there's, like, you know, ooh, we have a good opening hand. And we're playing as Mage. This could also be tier 1 meta deck from last time. But we have a good hand because we have turn 1, and then we can play this on turn 2 to draw a card, and then this on turn 3 to draw a Rush Minion, and most of our Rush Minions are 4 attack. So this will probably are 4 mana. So then this will give us a turn 4 play. So we have some stuff going on. Let's see what our opponent does. So we know they're not Quest Mage because they mulliganed the far left card of their hand. Because the Quest will always be the far left hand card of the hand. I'll greet them. Greetings. Okay, let's see. The Armored Goon. Last round we didn't even complete our quest. So we need to keep that in mind. Ooh, we drew one of our Rush Minions. We could, if it's really dire straits, we could coin this out next turn. But I don't think we'll have a reason to. I'm not loving these Bloodsworn Mercenary. That card sat in our hand and did nothing all game. So this is like a big part of deck building. Wow, that's really interesting to me. He pinged my face rather than pinging this minion. I'm gonna go ahead and play this guy. Because as we noted, he can snowball out of control pretty easily. And at the same time, if our opponent does summon a minion next turn, this guy gets 2 attacks. And so that's going to give him +4 attacks, right? And so our opponent is probably like, yep, look, he's like, I have to kill that thing. And that's the thing is, it's kind of like a tax. So like slowly over time, let's see, what are they doing? Doomsayer. Okay, let's see, can I kill that? I cannot kill that, I don't think. Because I have 2 here, and I have 3 here, so I could do 5 damage. 6 if I coin this out. So I'm 1 damage short.
Hit it with the face.
Wait. Actually, this is the right play. If I do Town Crier and I get Militia... Nope. Okay. If I had gotten Militia Commander, which is like, because that's one of my rush, and it's +5, then this plus Militia Commander could have done it. Instead, what we'll do is this, which will draw 2 cards from our deck. And we got Sulphraze. And Sulphraze is really good, as noted. That's like, that's a lot of attacks. So, our opponent's thing does go off, so that's kind of sucky. What I'd expect them to do here is probably play Luna's Pocket Galaxy. It's a 5-mana card. Yep. That reduces the cost of everything in the deck to 1. Because I've got nothing, he's got nothing to defend against. So it's just a good turn for him to do that. We want to develop as much as we can onto the board, but the problem is we don't really have much. So I'm actually going to use the coin and play the Sulphraze and punch him in the face. Just start getting, like, now this one Sulphraze will complete our entire quest for us, because we have this upgrade to make it have 5 total attacks. And so that's really good. That is really annoying. Wow.
He pulled your move.
Well, yeah, but he's just playing a tier 1 meta deck from last expansion.
Yep.
We can't win now. We can't kill 2 8/8s. Like, the game really came down to that turn where he played the Doomsayer, which destroys all minions at the start of my turn.
Yep.
And I just had no way to deal with that. I actually can I kill both of these? No, I can't. There's no reason to make this attack that I can see. Yeah, so we don't do that. So the reason why I don't make this attack is because, well, yeah. If our weapon had 1 more attack, we actually could have killed all their stuff. Possible. Gosh, okay, so this has been a really crappy stream to start.
It happens. So is it, I mean, what if they enjoy their decks? Like, it seems to be some sort of unwritten rule that you have to play the new expansions as soon as it comes out.
No, it's not. It's just like, okay, so let me put it this way. it's not that this person they probably just like winning. That's what I would bet. But the thing is that person and the person before them, hey, someone's like really talking it up. But that person, the person before them know that a lot of people are trying to have fun. And they're kind of robbing other people of their fun a little bit by like just playing old decks. But anyways,
so I'm gonna read out what Angry Mice. So Angry Mice says, I find these video games that are representations of tabletop games really interesting. Like there's a lot of graphical flourishes and statistical feedback that you get with the video version of tabletop. And this has a few cards with complex programmatic routines, which you had mentioned before with that one that the perfect card. Mm-hmm. Hi Nathan. Also, I don't want this to come across as accusatory at all, but it's interesting you defaulted to calling out your opponent with male pronouns, even though the avatar appears to be female.
Oh, did I? I'm sorry if I use any male pronouns. I generally try to use they on all opponents that we play on this stream. But if I use any male pronouns, just don't take it as a... I was taking it as a slip up. I really do mentally try to always refer to them as gender neutral, because you don't know. I mean, I guess Astro Man we might think is a male, but even so, I try not to. All right, here. So I'm already thinking about, yes. So this guy's playing a new deck. This is actually the first new card we've seen from an opponent. But
I do like the stat like that Angry Mice brings up / Nathan with being able to view the stats. Sorry, but go ahead.
What do you mean by view the stats?
Where he goes, statistical feedback. So like you kind of, for example, you were able to see the mana curve. Of the cards, and then you also have, is that a plugin that you have?
This is a plugin that like tracks my deck and tells me all the cards that are in my deck. That's really good for us because that's like a 3/2 minion, so we can just like punch it and kill it, and that, like, this is like called like a really good whatever. It's like a good. It's a good line. It lines up really well for us because our 2 attack weapon kills his 2 health minion. I'm surprised that he would even play that there. But he's got a really interesting quest. Did I answer your question, or am I just moving on too quick?
No, it wasn't a question. It was just I agree. I enjoy the statistical feedback.
Yeah, there is a lot of statistical feedback in Hearthstone, especially when you start adding in the plugins. Like here, we can actually go ahead and we can look. Let's look at a deck from last expansion. Like, actually, I accidentally deleted the deck I played the most on here. I was trying to. But anyways, like this one I was like 16-5. I won 76% of my games, like that kind of thing. Our opponent finished their quest. That's kind of interesting. But let's see, what do I want to do here? Wow, that quest is really good. I think what I want to do is I want to play another lance. I want to give this thing some health, and then we'll punch our opponent. But yeah, so there's like a lot of statistical stuff you could do, and statistics become really important. Like the difference between a deck that wins 55% of the time on average, like just regardless of the skill of the player, and a deck that wins, that's perfect. And we'll go ahead and we'll play the Restless Mummy again, and then we're gonna call it a day, because what we really want to do is we got a sneaky good play here. This comes back one time when it dies. So we want to rush it into something and then evolve it into something that costs 1 more, right? Because like we've gotten like almost all the value is like front loaded, right? And so darn it, that's a little annoying. These won't kill it, so we don't get the value if we do it. But we can do this. All right, this card is finally good. Choose a friendly minion's damage minion. Summon a copy of it. So now we got the copy. But the thing is, I don't want to run the copy into this. Yeah, I'd rather just punch this, and then I complete my quest. We made a minor mistake, which I'll explain in just a second. We could have gotten 2 armor, because we had done the 2 armor hero power first. As you can see, we're floating 2 mana here. I don't really want to play it. Even though these guys cost 1, in theory could play them, I don't really want to play them right now, because these guys have also very front-loaded effects, so I want to get them as a comeback card.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we could have gained 2 armor, but we didn't. I love this card. Bees!
I love
just summons a bunch of bees to attack stuff.
I
Now we have a tricky, actually, who's going to give them all +1/+1 and summon another one. Okay, so our opponent just made this huge board. Oh, that's really good. All these things have really low attack values, right? So this can just sit, we can just literally clear a ton of his board. It's going to cost us a lot of health, but I think it's worth it. And then that will give us the reborn one, which we can use to clear that. There was an argument to be made. We could have set him, we could have done 7 more damage to his face, so we could have really messed him up if we just punched his face a bunch. But I like this play a lot, because now we have these 2 4/3s, we have a lot of stuff, we have a lot of resources in hand. Let's see, what's our max? We've set up lethal as well, 8 plus. Alright, so here he summons a 6/6 with taunt, and he restored 12 health.
Jesus.
So his thing is, Druid's got all these cards that are, when what?
Hey, my boy.
So what we can do here, let me think about this for a second. I'm trying to think what the most effective way to kill this is. I think the best way is to play Ziliax. Wait. No. Seamat is really good here. Yeah, we give him Divine Shield and Rush, and he like you're always looking for like things that line up really perfectly. And so we give him Rush and Divine Shield. We kill that. We summon another 4/3, and then we just hit him in the face a bunch. And we've got this Lever in hand, which means that effectively, if we can deal 4 damage, we can kill him. And we can actually not even 4, 3, because so if any of our minions survive and can punch face, that's really good. Oh, but that does 5 and then does 2 to everything. So they have a bunch of choose 1 cards that do one or the other of a various thing. And this makes it so all of his choose 1 cards have both effects, which is obviously very powerful.
Damn.
Like there, he just cleared our whole board, and we had a really big board. Alright, so the question is, what do we want to do now? I think what I want to do is I want to play... I really want to get the hero power value for sure. So I think what I want to do is like this, plus this to protect our minions. Alright, I think that this is really good. So we just like set up a bunch of different minions at different health values, one with Divine Shield. It's going to be hard for our opponent to clear, I think, all of these. If they can clear all of them, it's going to require most of their resources. And at the same time, we're still summoning 4/3s every turn. So like that's why this quest is really good. We've summoned 4 of these already this game. That's really good. Those things have Rush. So he's going to kill 2 of our minions, but it's not going to be enough. We're gonna win this one. I believe. Unless I don't think with 0 mana he can kill this. Not like, and I mean that I'm not being sarcastic. Like, oh, this also helps a lot. But
So without the plugin, you won't be able to see the cards that remain in your deck or the cards you've already played.
No, those are things that the plugin allows me to do. Good question. I can turn off the plugin. It's kind of a little annoying here because is it so big? Normally it isn't so big. I wonder if I can adjust that. There's the settings here. Options. Overlay. General. Is there like an overlay size? Oh, here we go. Maybe.
It's passive.
Oh. That still helps. It helps make it so it doesn't look as cluttered.
Yeah.
What I like to use the overlay for, we've got a 1 and a 2 and a... Do we keep upgrade?
Why not?
Well, actually, I do want to keep upgrade because our opponent is Shaman, and I know Shaman has a 1 mana 2/1 that they love to play, and so this is actually a good answer to that 1 mana 2/1.
So how much of an advantage is having that? The overlay.
That's not a 1 mana 2/1. Maybe he'll play the 2/1 here. No. Well, that is a 1/1, so we can play this into that. The question is, do we want to? We could play the Frightened Flunky. It's just tricky. I think we play the Frightened Flunky because he can't kill it with this 1/1, and this has only 2 health. And there's a card that gives him relaxed health, but it's not available until turn 3, and he already used the coin. So Frightened Flunky is pretty good. At the same time, we can maybe find another Frightened Flunky. No. These are all really expensive. This card is trash. Like, this card is a 3-mana 1/4, but no, we're not going to do that. We're going to get the Safeguard. We just need we need to survive. Our opponent is Murloc Shaman, which is a very aggressive deck. They love to play a lot of minions, and so we just want to survive. This kind of helps us survive. Silence a minion, deal 1. Oh, that means our opponent is kind of ignoring it. He's got to do this trade, right? That is bonkers to me. I'm just going to say. Okay, so we actually have a really great turn lined up. We can Battle Rage to draw 2 cards, which is really good. And then we're going to upgrade. Punch that. We just cleared his board. Our opponent has no minions left in the field of play. I can't believe he just ignored that minion that could kill his best minion on board. Like, we could have traded his bad minion. Right? You see why that was bad, right? I'm not crazy. Alright, and here we go. Now we got a good turn as well, because we can trade into this, and then we can play this Restless Mummy as we're stabilizing, so this is really good. So, as for the advantage that having this has, I don't think it's a very big advantage, because ultimately all it does is tell you information that you could have been tracking in your own mind. Like, I know, like, I've drawn a Frothing Berserker, I know I have 2, so therefore I know that there's still 1 in my deck. What I think it helps with is, let's do this. And the question is, do I want to attack with this weapon? I'm going to say no, because we do have a weapon in hand, but it doesn't come online until the turn after this. And then, and we don't have any other weapons in it.
No, it is not the Hearthstone soundtrack.
That is not the Hearthstone soundtrack, yeah. We could put on the Hearthstone music, but I relaxed better to this, I guess. Ooh, do we want to play this upgrade? No. That's actually kind of interesting. We'll play upgrade on this in 2 turns. But until then, I want to get rid of this charge, punch here. That keeps getting this thing attacked. We'll play this big minion that we discovered a couple turns ago. And there we see how the Frightened Flunky is really good. It gave us our turn 2 play, and it gave us our turn 6 play in 1 card. And that's really excellent. But yeah, so you return to this. This is all information that I already know in my head. What it does is it just kind of helps you plan out your turns. Ooh, do we want to play Sulphraze? Or do we want to play the Gore Howl? That's a really, really good question, actually. So, the advantage of playing the Sulphraze is that it's a really, really good weapon. I think we'll play Sulphraze here, but we're not going to attack twice. The thing that makes it really good is he wants to play a lot of little guys, and this is really good at killing a lot of little guys. And that's why I want to play it. So I guess I'm going to play Gore Howl first, and I'm going to save this for a turn when I want to kill a bunch of little guys. This guy keeps getting buffed, so that's good. We're going to keep clearing his little minions because Shaman often has a way to utilize the little minions they have. Meanwhile, we've actually set up Lethal because we have a Leroy in hand, and this can do 6 damage to his face as well. So just these 2 cards, that's 12 damage on its own, and we got him. And so because this is all information I would know otherwise, it's not particularly useful. I find that I don't think I play much better or worse when these are on, but what it does help you do is it helps you play to what's called your outs. And so what your outs are is like, my opponent's at 6 health. I can look at this and be like, I still have a Leroy in deck, so if I draw my Leroy, I win. I shouldn't concede, right? Or I still have this card in my deck. And so it can just help clear your mind and help make you stay focused. And that's why I like to have the deck tracker on. But it doesn't confer any like exact competitive advantage because there's no new information that you know because of the deck tracker. Even though it's tracking your opponent's deck, it only tracks the card that they have played. Like in here we see 000, that just means it tracks the turn your opponent drew that card. All stuff that you would already know. Do we keep upgrade again? Against Paladin, they like to summon little 1/1s, so I guess we will. Do I want to keep the Militia Commander? That's a good question. No, I want to curve out. So I want to get... I want to curve out so I don't want the 1s and the 2s. I want to play 1, and I want to play a 2-drop. Yes, just like this. And then play a 3-drop and then a 4-drop. This is like we're playing kind of a mid-rangey kind of deck. We don't necessarily want to win on turn 5, but we do want to win, hopefully, on turns like 7 or 8. And if we don't, then the quests are kind of our backup to win the game. Okay. That's a pretty good card. I think it's really cool flavor. So we're going to play this guy because it trades into this really well. I really like this card, Bone Wraith, but this card, the 3 mana 2/3, would be a good play for us next turn. But looking at the board, what I see is this 1 mana 2/1/2 that comes back as a 1/1, right? And so what I'm thinking is, I got a 1/3 weapon I can equip next turn, and I can play this with the 1/3 weapon. So instead, I'll take a good turn 4 play. This thing's pretty neat. It's a 2/5 with taunt, so your opponent has to attack it, and then it's got reborn. So that means like your opponent's gonna have to get through this thing twice. Oh, that's bad. I didn't think about that. I had no way to kill that though, so I can't feel too bad about it.
I love my boy Leroy. Sorry.
Do we want? So we could just kill this. Do we just want to kill this?
Murder it.
Let's kill it. Yeah. We'll just play this Restless Mummy and run it into there twice. There we go. Alright, that's good for us. Oh wait, that thing's still alive. Oh, that's a mech too, so we can just mech onto it again. Oh, but he's drew as the lowest cost minion. That's probably Skaterbot or Gullatron, yep. Gosh darn it. Okay, so now what do we do? We use up, I guess we play Livewire Lance. Oh wait, we kind of messed up a little bit. We should have played this first. Well, let's see what Lackey we get. Do we want to attack that? Take the 4 damage, but deal 2 to it. Okay, if that thing is at 4/4, do we have a way to kill it next turn? Not really. Kind of. Yeah, we're gonna do this. It hurts. It really hurts. We'll see what Lackey we get here. Okay, that's actually pretty neat. Yes. Okay, so this is what I was hoping to draw. So next turn, we can do a pretty dope play of Militia Commander into this, and assume he's a 4/4. Oh, that's the new card. His deck has no duplicates. That's good to know. Wow, he had a crazy opening hand. Okay, so the thing to note, and this is why this card's so cool. But if your deck has no duplicates, you have a lot less consistency, right? Yeah. He has gotten an amazing opener on a deck that has only 1-ofs, right? Yeah. Usually you get amazing openers. Okay, shoot. Okay, we can kill this, so I guess we will. It's just really going to hurt. We can do. Wait. How can we do damage? This does 6.
That would cost all your mana.
Yeah. We'll do this. This hurts. Well, I should do this first, just to see what lackey I get. Even though, one of the lackeys is kind of good here. Not that one. And then we'll play this. Summon a random 2-cost minion. It could be worse than Addict, I guess. Alright, so our opponent can push 5, so yep, they win.
Yeah.
But at least our opponent was playing some new cards. We didn't curve out very well. Wait, there's that 1? Oh, that's only 9. Okay, let me think for a sec. Do we have?
How can you deal 30 damage?
Well, it's not about dealing 30 damage. We can. Let me think. Okay. Well, this technically could eat up both of these attacks. Oh, there's a concentration. Yep. So we went with the we're not dead on board, but we were dead in spirit. So what I'll say about that game, and I'm not taking away anything from our opponent because they won and they played well, but I think that with the singleton decks, you usually would not expect to have like a turn 2 into a great turn 3 into a great turn 4 into a great turn 5. The thing about a singleton deck, and maybe we'll build one after playing 1 or 2 more games with this warrior deck, is that a singleton deck is fundamentally pretty inconsistent. And then the advantage you get from that particular card, are the cards that give you advanced. So like you wouldn't normally ever build a singleton deck by itself, right? Why wouldn't I want 2 of this card in the deck? But instead there's a couple of cards, right? In this case there's 2 cards in this deck that specifically say if your deck has no duplicates. Here we have another upgrade. Ooh, and Requesting Explorer. We've been keeping upgrade the past couple games and it hasn't felt very good. I think we mostly want to use this on other weapons. We don't want to just use it for the 1/3 weapon it could be. But this is a good hand because we've got a 1 and then we can play this 2/3 to draw a card. That's the second time that's happened today where we mulligan a card and then alright, they're playing the new quest too. Alright, I'm glad we're playing some people playing some new decks. Double upgrade.
Oh man.
Well, the one good thing is if we attack every turn, we can just complete our quest. Like this is 6 attacks in hand. So we're gonna play our own quest adventure. This kind of sucks, I will admit, because he can trade into this, make it a 2/1, and then heal this to make it back to a 2/3, which is exactly what he doesn't do. That's what I would have done, but what do I know? Okay, so here what we can do is I equip a 1/1 weapon, and then I'm going to double trade into this. And then I'm going to play the Frightened Flunky. That's an order mistake. You typically, we'll just take another Frightened Flunky, because I don't really like these 2 guys. This one's a little too expensive, and this one has a really interesting effect. Taunt, at the start of your turn, shuffle this back into your deck. So you think, well, that's terrible, I don't have the minion anymore, but it's way overstated. It's a 3/10 with Taunt, so your opponent, it's kind of like a get off me button to your opponent. Like, for the next turn, you can't really attack me unless you want to go through this thing. So we'll take the second Frightened Flunky, and maybe we'll get a better Taunt. But that's the nice thing about Frightened Flunky. You can get more Shaggies from this card. Psycho Pomp is going to revive this is a really interesting card. It's a 3/1 that revives a minion that died this game and gives it Reborn, which is pretty neat.
So you essentially have to go through it 3 times.
Yeah, it summons like itself, another minion, and then a copy of the minion. And if you get something with Death Rattle, that Death Rattle will trigger twice. So I think what I want to do here... I'm thinking... Okay, I think I know. Alright, so I know that the 1/2 weapon wants to go into this 3/1, right? Because that's good tempo. And then I know that I likely want to play this. Yeah, okay, I got it. And this guy is a 3/1. So we've got 4 attacks here, and we've got 3 bodies. So the question is, which body do we want to leave up? I think I want to leave. So I'll leave this guy up. No. Yeah. It's okay. I left this guy up because he had the most stats. And on top of that, I didn't actually, yes, I could have punched my opponent's face, but their quest is to heal. So if I actually just leave him at 30 health, he can't heal. Yeah. Now, eventually I'm going to want to hit his face, right? I have to eventually hurt him. But if I can make him avoid having healing, or he'll heal my face to try to complete his quest, both of those are decent outcomes for me. But that was that was an interesting turn. Like, how exactly, and that's what I love about Hearthstone the most, is actually a turn where you've just got a lot of different branching paths, and there's no, definitive, this is the best one. He did that again. So here we're gonna actually have a harder time clearing this, but what we could do is if we find our mummy friend again, Ziliax. We could coin out Ziliax. If I coin out Ziliax, I can full clear here, so that's pretty good. Disadvantages to doing that. I don't really see any disadvantages to coining out Ziliax. I lost the coin, which is kind of bad. I can't coin out Siamon, I guess. But I don't know if I wanted to coin out Siamon. And then I'll do this. Oh, this can't attack. Oh, whoops. For some reason I was thinking this could attack. We're gonna kill that, because we value the Ziliax is the 3/2 with lifesteal and taunt and all these awesome things a lot more than we value the 3/1. And obviously he would have made that trade for us. We kind of put our opponent in a bind. He has not done any healing yet this game, which, meanwhile we are 3/5 of the way through our quests. So that's good for us. We will probably punch him in the face if he doesn't do anything next turn because we want to get this upgrade online. The question is, we could save the upgrade, and we've got a pretty good reason to. We could save the upgrade and upgrade the Gore Howl, which is really good. Okay, he's going to kill all our stuff. Forbidden Words. That's going to deal 1 damage to everything. The question is, does he have any? No. Okay. Okay. This is a pretty easy turn for us. We're going to play our big boy. I'm going to punch that. Now our opponent has nothing. We have a big boy. That's a win. We've seen a duplicate from our opponent, so we know they're not running a no duplicate stack. Note that only 4 classes got a class card that relies on having no duplicates, and we can look at those in a bit. We'll actually probably build a deck around that. Ooh, what's this? Okay, okay. Not the worst. We can actually clear this all. So what I want to do here is I want to play the Gore Howl. I want to punch the Ziliax, and then I'll kill this lady. And look at that, he gave us 5 armor. Hey, good job, buddy. Alright. We're trying to outvalue our opponent. Let's see, healing. They have still done 0 out of 15. I consider this a pretty good win, because we're very close to completing our quest. I'm very curious as to what our opponent does here. Not playing a card is actually kind of good. Okay, but that's not what our opponent is doing. The reason why not playing a card is good, this can, if it attacks this hero, I lose the durability, which would be bad for me. Because I want the durability because after my hero attacks, I get to refresh it. So I want to just keep clearing minions with this Gore Howl and like summoning 2 4/3s a turn. That is really, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of stats. All right, I do not like that play by him very much. And the reason why is that this 6/1 weapon, that lines up really well into that 3/6 minion, right? And that 3/6 minion is better when it's buffed. Alright, so now we can play this. And the question is, do I just want to do this trade? I don't really want to play this Militia Commander, because this is like a really primo removal. So I think what we'll do is we'll play the Frightened Flunky, see what we get. Another Frightened Flunky. Don't mind if I do. Yeah, and then we'll just play another Frightened Flunky. Hey, that's called... Hey! And we'll just kill this, because this thing can draw lots of cards, and we're going to play this other Frightened Flunky. And then we got a little bit the short side of the stick, because we kept checking the Frightened Flunky. We might have been able to get a better minion for the long haul, but we got all these Frightened Flunkies, that's fun. 2/5 or 5/4? I'll take the 5/4, actually. Alright. So our opponent, Chile, submits. He's definitely behind right now, but I wouldn't call him out. It seems like he's running a control deck to me. Control decks typically aren't looking to win right now, and he's still at 30, so it's not like he's like in danger of losing right now. Let's see what he does. I would expect Mass Hysteria to be his play this turn. Mass Hysteria is a 5 mana, all minions attack each other kind of card. It's very strong. At clearing boards. So in theory, it would clear all but one of these minions if he plays. Oh, but he's got that. Now all our things have very low health. So if he's able to play a lot of spells, no, but he didn't. Well, that's really good. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna punch. We're gonna do this, and we could summon a copy of a friendly damage minion, but we actually don't have space. So instead, I'm just going to shield block.
And you're not going to...
We were actually actively choosing not to hit his face before, but now it's time to start hitting his face. That'll help him complete his quest. I'll be interested. Is he healing his face here? He should heal this, because that'll give him a card draw. Okay. Oh, this healed that. Okay, I guess that makes sense. We don't have much of an advantage to upgrading here, because upgrading makes this yeah, upgrading doesn't really help too much, because this still can't kill that. So what I want to do is I think I want to do send this 4 into there, send this 2 into there, then hero power, send this 4 into there, get back another one, hero power, and then we can just send this 2 into there, send this 4 into there, and we've effectively removed all of our opponent's minions. We've done a lot of damage to their face, and our opponent has 3 cards. We have 8 cards in hand. So I'm feeling very comfortable with this one. Okay, he's gonna buff that up. What's he got? Extra arms, very good. So what this thing does is it comes back if it dies when it has 4 or more attack. It's a reoccurring villain, pretty cool flavor. So the question is, we have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yep, we had lethal. I wasn't BMing him, right? I was actually sitting here counting, but I could see from his perspective how he might have felt BM'd, because we did have lethal.
Yeah.
That game, the quest felt really good, right? Because like that was why we won, just because we had this endless stream of 4-3s.
Yeah.
But I do think we could. We're gonna build a new deck, but I like one thing I want to know is with the deck building process, it's a process, right? It's not. It's just like writing a paper, right? You can continue to make it better.
Do it last minute the night before.
Do it last minute the night before. That maybe if you're going to a tournament. But I think there was a particular card that felt not good.
Yeah.
That was the Bloodsworn Mercenary. And so the question is, what could we put in here to replace that card with? Let's see. I felt like we were getting enough attacks when we drew our weapons. The obvious card to put in would be another Town Crier, because Town Crier is a ridiculously good card. Any card that's 1 mana and draws you a card, that's bonkers level good. But the Militia Commander felt really good when we used it. I would say a good card for us to put into this deck would be another weapon. One more weapon. I think this Arcanite Reaper might be good to kind of bridge the gap. Ooh, maybe, yeah. The Arcanite Reaper I think is just one more weapon to get a couple swings, because there was a couple games where we played there where we were unable to get it going, and it got a little annoying.
What about Shield Block that helped? But what's the mana on it?
Shield Block? That we already have 2 of that in our deck. That card did help, like in the later game when we had mana to spare, just as a quick draw. Battle Rage felt really good a couple times when we used it. I'd say that was a good card. Ooh, we could just put in a Heroic Strike. Not bad. Give your hero +4 attack this turn. It's basically acts as like a 4/1 weapon in a sense that you have to use this turn. But you could also use it in conjunction with your other weapons. And there was a game where our opponent had a big minion that if we could have removed, we probably would have won the game, but we couldn't remove it. And this might have won us that game. So, especially because I remember that game, that Mercenary card was bad. So now, let's move on to a new deck. And I want to play Reno Mage.
Okay.
So Reno is the Hearthstone word for the non-duplicate deck. Because the card Reno Jackson was the first no duplicates card, and what that one did is actually just heal you to full. Very strong. But they actually printed a new Reno. And one thing to note is that there's these custom built decks, and I could just custom build the Reno deck right now. One thing to note, it kind of looks like, whoa, what? Do you always get all these cards? No, I just happen to have like literally every mage card because it's my second favorite class. And that's why it says 30 out of 30. But we're not going to use their template because I think we can build a better deck than them. Okay. Maybe that's a little presumption. Oh wait, no, we just built it. Whoops. Maybe. But Reno decks are really interesting, right? Because like, in this case, and this is something that Hearthstone does really well, and that a lot of other card games like Magic can't do as much, which is that you can have a very specific deck building restriction. So let's look at duplicate. If your deck has no duplicates, deal 10 damage, randomly split across all enemy minions. I think very strong card, because it's not only is it deal 10 to all enemy minions, but it's also a pretty nicely sized minion on top of it. Then our other one is Zephyrus the Great. If your deck has no duplicates, wish for the perfect card. Obviously, we want to include both of these, right? And we're going to call it Highlander Mage.
Okay.
Highlander was, there can be only one, right? So that's the other, like, Hearthstone community way of describing this kind of deck, is like a Highlander deck. So, we can only have one of every card. And so what this kind of leads me to feel is to have some more be a controlling strategy. And the reason why is that a control deck naturally wants to kind of wait out the game and accrue value over the opponent. And both of these cards kind of accrue value over our opponent. So one thing I love to do is I like to just look at my legendary minions and think, which one of these do I want to fit into this deck? We saw someone else playing Reno Mage earlier today, and they were included Luna's Pocket Galaxy. So we'll go ahead and include that too. And I'm going to include Stargazer Luna. after we play the rightmost card in our hand, draw another card. And so these two cards work pretty well together, but this card is just standalone pretty good because your opponent is definitely going to feel like some pressure to get rid of this. And the other thing to note is if you're in a deck that has no duplicates, right, card draw is really primo for you, right? Because you are less likely to have the right answer if you only have one of all the answers. So a fun card I want to put in is Hexlord Malakras, 8 mana 5/5, and a copy of our opening hand to our hand. That's pretty nice. Also value, right? That just gives us a lot of more cards that we can use. And then one more value card, Calicos. The first spell we cast each turn costs 0, very good. And then Battle Cry, discover a spell. Nice. So even though it's 10 mana, it's got an immediate impact on the board because we'll discover a spell and play it. And we can maybe play a big board clear. And the thing to note is because we're playing a Highlander deck, legendaries are even better, right? Because we can only run one of them anyways. So classic, really just flexible cards are really valuable. This is a 2 mana 1/1 draw card, and it gives us spell damage +1. Those are just a bunch of weird things in different directions, but a good card for Reno deck. Snip Snap. We saw this card a couple times today. It wrecked us in one game. It basically won the game for our opponent. So we'll definitely put that on our deck. Just a really good card. By itself because it's got Magnetic and Echo. So a card that I want to include is this card, Bristol Lynchen, because it's Battlecry, a copy of each other of your Battlecry minions to your hand. Well, we have this is a Battlecry minion, this is a Battlecry minion, but our two best cards, right, the ones we're building the whole deck around, Reno and Zephyrus, they're also Battlecry minions. So this has a lot of opportunity to give us repeats of some of the best cards in our deck. Leroy, usually only good in aggressive decks because it's a way to burn out your opponent, right? Since we're not trying to burn out our opponent, we're not going to include Leroy this time. But Ziliax, like we said, Ziliax and Siamat, standard, just really good cards. So, and we'll go forward just a little bit. Do I want to include any of these other cards? Really a lot of mana, right? One of these is a new card. This guy, new card. He's really big.
Oh crap!
But I think not for our deck. It's a little too big. Do we want to include Alex Straza? This is like a card that I could see us including because it is very strong and it's very good when it's been turned into 1 mana. But I think I'm gonna pass for now at least. Maybe we'll come back to it. So a card that I want to include is this, Subject 9. Draw 5 different secrets from our deck. So we just have to include a bunch of different secrets, right? The thing is we kind of already want to include a bunch of different cards, right? And so this is like, when we're thinking about deck building, we're thinking, well, this card draws different secrets. So now let's put in some different secrets. So we'll look up the word secret, the keyword. We're gonna include this card, 2 mana. This is a new card from the new expansion. Draw secret, it costs 0. Secrets normally cost 3 in Mage. So you're kind of you're drawing a card and then you get a 1 mana discount on it in a sense. So I think that's pretty good. Counterspell, classic Mage secret that's really good. Flame Ward is a new one. After a minion attacks our hero, deal 3 damage to all enemy minions. That's pretty good. Now it is after, which means the minion still does hit you, and then it does 3 damage, but still pretty good. Ice Barrier, when your heroes attack, gain 8 armor. Nice card because we're controlling. We want to just slow down the game. Gaining armor helps us do that. Mirror Entity, after our opponent plays a minion, summon a copy of it. Could be bad. If our opponent plays around it, right, they just play like a 1/1 into it. Not good. So maybe we want to hold off on that for now. Vaporize, not too good when a minion attacks your hero, destroy it. How many of these secrets do we have right now? We put in 3 secrets. So let's put in Spellbender. When an enemy casts a spell on a minion, summon a 1/3 as a new target. So I think that's pretty good. And we'll put in Mirror Entity. So we have 5 secrets. And we're likely to probably draw one before we get Subject 9, but still. And then last but not least, I think I'll include an Arcane Keysmith for the secret package. Just discover secret, put it in the battlefield. Very flexible card, right? It's a 4 mana 2/2, and we value flexible cards for this deck. So now let's put in some just blanketly good cards. Ray of Frost, freeze a minion, twin spell, so I guess you can do that twice. That's pretty good, right? A lot of value there. Up next for value, Frostbolt, deal 3 damage. Blanketly, just good card, right? Up next, Arcane Elixir, draw 2 cards. Blanketly, just good classic Mage card. Keeping going. Fireball, deal 6 damage. Classically good. Polymorph, transform a minion into 1/1. Right, we're seeing a lot of overlap with D&D for just a second. All of these, this is actually making me...
The most broken level 3 spell. I love it though.
So,
sorry.
Actually, now there's a good question. And that is, I'm wondering if our deck is kind of pulling in two different directions, and we might want to pick one. We've included this Luna's Pocket Galaxy, right? It's a good card that turns everything in our deck to 1. And I think that that is valuable. But if you know it, we don't really have that many big expensive minions that are getting their cost reduced. And at the same time, we just added a bunch of spells. And spells, they don't get affected by this, it's just minions. So I'm actually thinking, do we want to just take this out of the deck?
I don't know.
Maybe we'll keep it in and we'll see if it helps us win games, we'll be happy. Let's look at other blanketly good cards. I think Blizzard, deal 2 damage to all enemy minions and freeze them, good. Flame Strike, deal 4 damage to all enemy minions, good. Astromancer, summon a random minion with cost equal to your hand size. Pretty good. We're probably gonna have big hands because we're trying to be a controlling deck. We do have a lot of cards that draw us cards here. Continuing on, Tortollan Pilgrim, discover a copy of a spell in your deck and cast it with random targets. Could be good. We have a lot of secrets. Secrets count, right? See, so I think we'll include that. It's a new card. Let's go ahead and we have 2 slots left. Let's try to add some other new cards.
And off topic, but I forgot to remind you I have to leave early today.
What does early mean?
Like in 5 minutes. Because I got work at 5.
Okay, well, I did not know that.
I mean, you could keep running, but I have to clock in at 5.
We could end the stream a little bit early, if that's okay.
Okay.
So we'll finish building this up. Messenger Raven, discover a mage minion, and then we actually don't have a lot of neutral cards, and that can be a bad thing. Typically, neutral cards are weaker than your non-neutral cards, but the fact that we haven't even been looking at our non-neutral cards, like we don't have any taunt minions here, so we'll do like this guy, and then that could round out this deck. We won't be playing any games with this deck, but that's that's like another example of deck building and like kind of thinking through the process of like what do I want to be doing, like looking at a card like Subject 9, which is not really typically played in Mage, and thinking about maybe because our deck doesn't have any duplicates, this could see play in our deck, or looking at a card like Hexlord Malacrest also doesn't see a lot of play, but maybe in our deck because we do want duplicates of some of those opening cards. Same thing with a lot of these. One of the neat like little synergies we could do is Hexlord Malacrest is add a copy of your hand to opening hand, and so one card we could decide is we could look at our opening hand and be like, I want to keep Zephyrus because that way I get 2 Zephyruses, and then on top of that, if I use Barista Lynchen on my Zephyrus, I have 3 Zephyruses, right? And this is the card that's finding the perfect card, right?
Yeah.
So you can see how like we're starting to like really think about the way these cards interact. But the nice thing is that, and the bad thing you can do is to have tunnel vision as to like what the best cards are. So for instance, we have some big spells in our deck, but we haven't overloaded it. Like we skipped out on some, even though with Caligos is really good with big spells, right? Because we could look at something like Power Creation, discover 6 cost minion and summon 2 copies of it. It's a little overcosted. For 8 mana, that's a lot, especially because since you're discovering, you don't know if the 6 cost minion will have taunt or something like that. So if like I'm under the threat of my opponent killing me and I play this and then I don't have anything that defends me, I just lose.
Yeah.
As opposed to like Flame Strike, right, which just could like knock out a bunch of stuff. Or Pyroblast, deal 10 damage. Well, Pyroblast doesn't really work well with this guy for one, but also it's a little too, it's 10 mana, right? Usually you only see this card being used to just shoot your opponent's face. But that's a little bit of the new expansion, and we will see you guys next week where we'll probably play a new game or something like that.
Sounds good.
Have a good day.
Peace out.
Bye.